Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Unreal Engine live stream. I'm Chance Ivy, Senior Community Manager, and I'm joined today by Marc Petit, our General Manager for Unreal Engine Enterprise. Marc, how's it going?
Good. How are you? Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
yeah, doing
I've been
well.
dreaming to be on that show, so I'm glad our glory has finally come.
Yeah, totally. I've been trying to get you on here for some time, and now we've got an awesome event behind us here, and lots to talk about with what we're offering up as a product and things. And so we're going to cover off on a couple news items real quick, and then we'll hop right into it. So Clint, if we could hop over to the screen here, we're going to talk about what's new for Engine. All right, so earlier this week we dropped 4.17. It's awesome. There's so much fun things in there for you to check out. Tons of updates to Sequencer. There's the new Composer tool for compositing video. There's all kinds of great updates all across the board. If you saw the live stream back with Mike Frooker a few weeks ago, you'll know a little bit more what to expect there. So if you haven't, I suggest go check it out. Mike goes through everything. This was maybe, I think, 3 weeks ago. The archive's up on youtube.com/Unreal Engine. It's a wonderful, wonderful build, so I figure you should go check it out. Let us know what you think, report any bugs, whatever, so we can get them into our hotfixes moving forward. We had over 90 contributions from the Unreal Engine community, so thank you so much for all that you do to help us make Unreal Engine and make it awesome. If you're looking to get involved there too, we basically take pull requests for new code from GitHub. There's a lot of information online. You can check it out at unrealengine.com. So cool, that was great. And I wanted to call out too, like, SIGGRAPH is right behind us. We had all kinds of great things going on there. Marc and I will cover off on a little bit of that here in a second. But we and our partners won Real Time's Graphics Interactivity Award again at Real Time Live for the 3rd year in a row. So this was with the human race. If you saw it at GDC, it was the digital short and augmented reality demonstration that we did with the Mill and a number of other partners. So congrats to the team. We're super excited, and we're very thankful to have won this. So yay! There's a full blog on it on the website too. You can check it out, read more about it. Then next thing we have, I wanted to call out. So Unreal Dev Grants, there's more information on Unreal Dev Grants coming soon. We have our next batch that's just right around the corner to announce to everybody. So hang tight with us real quick while we finalize the details there. But I wanted to call out just a reminder that you can still apply. I get a lot of questions about, is the program still going? Is there still, are the grants still available? Is there still money in the fund for the grants? And it absolutely is. So we encourage you to head to unrealengine.com/unrealdevgrants. And then scroll to the bottom of the page, fill out the Google form here, and tell us a little bit about your project, and we'll get it on our radar. Also, back at GDC, we announced that there are Oculus Rift Intouch kits that they have actually put forward as part of the Unreal Dev Grants program as to get into the hands of developers everywhere to empower success. And so we've still got plenty of those as well too. So if you're building a project that'd be awesome for VR, or building a VR project and wanting to bring it to the Oculus as well, let us know you're looking for one there. We can see what we can't do about getting one your way. So. And that's all we've got today for the news. Amanda's out of town, and she's been curating all of the awesome community spotlight work. So we don't really have a community spotlight this week, but we will be able to double up next week and bring you all the great projects out to the world from there. Clint, if we could switch back over to Marc and I, that'd be stellar. Hey, Clint. Thanks, buddy. Yeah. All right. So, Marc, how's it going? I don't have Marc. Can you give me his mic? Are you muted, Marc?
Yes, I was.
Woo! Perfect. How's it going, Marc? How's it like being back from SIGGRAPH?
Yeah, it was good. I'm actually in Montreal, which is kind of the hometown for our enterprise team. As you know, I'm usually based in Cary, but I'm enjoying a good recovery week in Montreal.
Yeah, we had a lot going on there. I know that your entire team has just been slammed for the last few months, getting everything ready with Real Time Live, with the Statue of David, with the announce of Datasmith and everything else there too. So what are some of the cool things we did out there? I mean, what were some of the highlights of the show from you as well?
Well, I mean, it started strong because Kim DeBerry, our CTO, gave the keynote at DigiPro. I mean, DigiPro is some sort of elite events that's right before SIGGRAPH. It's kind of think of it as the Jedi Council of the industry. And we demonstrated the Fortnite trailer in real time, and Kim gave a great keynote about the future of real-time production. And it's interesting because even people from the industry, you could tell that it takes time for this to sink that what they see in the Fortnite trailer, and I encourage you to check it out on YouTube, is real time. I mean, it takes Ryan Brooks talking about remarching volume shaders to people say, oh my God, it's true. Not only there is those 4 characters, this complex environment, all this animation, but yet you got all these atmospherics and effects, and it's all real time. And it was very interesting to see how it would, it would sink into people, this notion of real time. And then it was a great way to kick off SIGGRAPH.
That's awesome, and I know that we're going to probably get a lot of that team that built that on here to talk with us about some of the process behind putting it together and how that actually influenced the sequencer tool for what they're going to see in 4.17, right?
Yeah, and then we had our this is going to come in. I mean, 4.17 has most of the tools that you need to do the Fortnite trailer, by the way. So it's very interesting. And then we did something that's kind of a tradition at SIGGRAPH. We do user group when we showcase the work of our group. So we rented the Orpheum, and we put together 90 minutes of a very intense presentation, 20 speakers on stage. I mean, it was very intense. But we had a few interesting topics, around a couple of themes. One is around Datasmith, so I'll come back on that. We had customer presentation of Datasmith from Harley Davidson and Lissoni Associates. And then I wanted to demonstrate some odd usage of the engine that people may or may not realize. Like in AI, we have a lot of customers in AI who are training agents with the engine. So we had Zoox on stage, a startup from Silicon Valley, has this grand vision about autonomous vehicle, and they actually train their autonomous vehicle with Unreal Engine. They also use to create, accurate simulation of the physics of the vehicle, and they can feed all the sensors with accurate representation. So they actually capture San Francisco while they drive, and then they rerun this in the engine. It was a really great example of, we have a lot of AI customers using the engine also.
Yeah.
All of, we're training Skynet with Unreal Engine, basically.
It is
our customers.
Yeah, it is odd. It's funny. We've been talking about engine features, since I've been here for a number of years now, since launch, and I seem to find every single day, or at least every week, a new use of some industry that's picking it up and using it. Not even sometimes for rendering, but just for crunching numbers and building things and data sets and managing those kinds of things, right? And then visualizing it later in really awesome ways. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's what happens when you leave your source code on the internet.
Yeah. Yes.
And did you know that people do drug discovery with Unreal Engine?
No.
That's actually happening. So we had those use cases. That's true. And then we had the big section about real-time production. Maybe I'll cover this first. We presented the human rays to demonstrate real-time visual effects. If you're a visual effects artist, you know that whether the car is blue or yellow makes a big difference in terms of integration, because you have to use the composite the finishing. So we demonstrated this in real time, how you can customize the content at real time. Then we had the Fortnite trailer, which was very interesting because it's kind of a level of quality of animation that is probably above and beyond what television products do. And it's 24 minutes per second. You may or may not know that the average television show right now for kids renders into 40 to 50 minutes. So that's a big change in the economics of production. But when Epic does something, people are like, yeah, but it's Epic. They can do whatever they want. But we had a customer from Montreal called Digital Dimension present a very hot new television product called Safari. 100% made into the engine. They had average rendering time of 1 second per frame. And I say, guys, it makes no sense. This is slow for us, And they actually did a bit of work, and they had a full episode of 11 minutes rendering in real time for us to see at the show. And they're producing 9 hours for a season. It's 52 times 11 minutes.
Wow.
If you do not use a game engine to do this, I mean, you'll burst the bank. Just buying a render farm to be able to deliver, an episode per week is absolutely a crazy amount of money. So, it's fair to say that the engine kind of enabled this project. It's from David Dozoretz. It's beautiful. It's animals that were born with some other animal's skin. Like the elephant is born with a zebra skin, and it's really about, how to celebrate different instead of a finger pointing difference. It's a great message for the kids.
That's very cool.
And it's going to be on television. It's picked up by NBC Universal for distribution, so you'll see it. Your kids will enjoy this in a few months on television. So we're very proud of that example because it's the third party. and really showing people how far you can take computer graphics in real time with Unreal Engine.
Well, yeah, and it's the same. I think you hit the nail on the head for what's so awesome to me about Unreal Engine. It's like these technologies allow you to kind of bring the horizon closer. It's like time travel, right? It saves you both time, and time is money in these industries, right? And the same thing, you can get a lot done with a much smaller team. It's phenomenal, and so I love seeing that spilling into all these other industries that are creating content that is changing the way people do business, changing the way that they interact with their customers, changing the way that they provide entertainment, to children, things like that. It's so awesome.
Yeah, and once you got those real-time assets, the distance to the next deliverable, like AR, VR, games, or broadcast graphics or anything, is actually you build a lot of value into your assets, and that's been a dream for us in the entertainment industry, asset reuse. So Unreal Engine is finally delivering on that, so it's good. And then once you're real time, you can be interactive. So you enter into the world of interactive storytelling. We had one of our customers, Disney, is making Amigo to the rescue. It's a mobile app for the iPhone made with Unreal, and kids can actually enjoy the rich storytelling of Disney and interact with the dog and play, sending on missions. It's actually beautiful. It's going to be a brave new world for our kids in terms of having those stories that they can make theirs, not just like a passive experience. Like get hands-on. So Amigo to the rescue, they're nominating for an Emmy. So
wow.
I don't know what the Emmys have done already. I haven't seen the results, but we wish they. It's a great piece of interactive storytelling. It's a form of art that we need to develop. So
yeah, it's enabling these traditional linear storytellers to actually add a new level to the way that they present their stories and their universes, right? I'm sure it comes with all kinds of new challenges, just like VR does, right? Like for us who are used to building for a screen. But I think that you're going to see a lot of really, really, really emergent talent, or not talent, emergent content come from these talented folks, right?
Yeah, because the language of cinematography, depth of field framing, it's 100-year-old, and we all know it and understand it. Now, people with interactivity and VR, as you mentioned, we have to develop a whole new language. So I think it's a great opportunity for young people. We know there will be resistance in the industry.
Yeah. No, but it'll be fun.
Look, I can't wait. It's going to be very interesting.
Absolutely. Well, cool. So yeah, and on this, like part of what we talk about here with making things more streamlined, not having to have a render farm to build out specific scenes. I mean, the engine kind of handles a lot of that for you, being able to build things out and see it as you're building it, right, and run through it and make your tweaks. Is that a bit of the motivation or the focus or vision behind Datasmith, like trying to ease the actual process of getting your vision to the final form?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also a recognition of accepting different workflows from our customers. I mean, it all started back in October, where there was a survey coming out from CG Architect, basically saying that one architect in 10 was using Unreal Engine already. And so we digged into this, and what we realized is they were using it, but there was a lot of pain associated to it, because in the content pipeline, like in games, the assets are purposely built for the game. And you kind of don't care the material they were done before. You ditch them anyway on import because you want to recreate your materials to be optimized and really fit the game. But what we are hearing from our customers, particularly in the architectural space, is like, I'm paid to do this wonderful image with 3ds Max and V-Ray. That's the deliverable, and people want it in VR, want it interactive. But they were like, don't tell me I have to rebuild my content for the interactive portion of that, because there is no money nobody wants to pay to turn this Max scenes into interactive content.
Right.
So we say, well, there we go. This is the plan. We're going to build and make interactive button 3ds Max, and that's really where we started to work on Datasmith and understand, how we could capture all the creative decisions that were made in 3ds Max, like scene assembly, entourage, all of the elements. Like if you have trees, we translate into foliage, and then understand the shaders. We work with our friends at the Kills Group. We're very close to the Kills Group and to V-Ray. Make sure we have translation layers going on. Make sure we translate IES profile so that you take a scene build in Max V-Ray, push a button, you get it in Unreal. Pick a number, anywhere between 70 to 90% done.
Yeah.
You certainly do not start from scratch, and we support instancing for complexity management, and that was the idea behind it. And that's what we started to do, and that's what we are We have 130 beta sites actually, and we're taking registration for more, and we're going to open the floodgates later this month.
Gotcha. So it's a plugin that goes right in there to Unreal Engine, and it helps people that are building all kinds of different content in a way that they've been doing for a long time, lighting a scene specifically, and then easily getting that from that DCC or CAD tool just whoop, into the engine so they can continue working there for platforms like VR or any other real-time work that they wanted to do, where they want to allow, a more depth to the space.
Absolutely. It's really a simplification of the workflow, and again, it's being respectful of the economics of our customers, because again, nobody wants to pay to transform assets that, people want to pay for creative work. So, what people realize, and I think that's what we've heard at SIGGRAPH, is people are very comfortable that to get to interactive content, you do not have to sacrifice a lot of visual fidelity. I mean, look at all the beautiful architectural pieces we see on YouTube made with Unreal. I mean, it's just stunningly gorgeous. And of course, it's not the V-Ray quality. You don't have the accuracy. You don't have the glass and everything. But for interactive content, it's perfect. So we really believe that Datasmith will help get a lot of our customers into interactive content, a lot of the AEC customers in the architectural space. And the other thing that we show that, so we created this toolkit to import the scene called Datasmith. It works for Max now, but our vision is to make it work for a lot of other packages. We're working on DataGen for the automobile customers, VRED as well, and of course Maya for the film guys, the film and television guys. But we also recognize a lot of people, do not use 3ds Max, particularly in mechanical space, in product development.
Right.
They want to go straight from CAD to Unreal. They assemble their scene in Unreal, and then they want to go from there in collaborative design reviews or just exploration or presentation.
Right.
So the other part of Datasmith is a bunch of CAD importers and procedural tools to simplify the geometry. Because CAD data, that's heavy and complex.
Yes, it is.
And so we have all of this procedural. We call it recipe based. Like you take a part, like the brake disc of a bike, you'll set a rule like fill the hole that are less than 2 millimeters. I don't want them in the real-time content. So you'll develop those rules once, and then you will reapply them to your CAD data as you version it. And in this workflow, you go straight to CAD to Unreal. And this is why we talked to our friend from Kills Group and said, but people still want to do the money shot. So that's why they created work together on V-Ray for Unreal. And so now you can go from CAD to Unreal to V-Ray, and you get your interactive content and your beautiful, super accurate, ray trace headlights kind of pictures.
So this is
one very, very beautiful workflow.
Yes, this is going to change workflows for a number of different kinds of people and open up opportunities to move up and down that chain, or not even just up and down the art pipeline, but to take a separate path and then come back in, right, to have your interactive content at the end. That's phenomenal. Yeah, no,
honestly, the response has been really, really good. I mean, we knew there was pent-up demand for that people really expected those tools. It was time for somebody to cater to the pipeline. So I think we did okay. And we did this as an open platform. We're Epic Games. We don't enclose things. So we created Datasmith API, and then to test it, we worked with our friends at Esri, the VGIS company, and they created in a few weeks before SIGGRAPH an importer for their city engine, their procedural digital city design tool. And so Datasmith is also an open API that will be available, and a lot of people can tap into those tools. As we've showed, on stage, we had Pascal Muller from City Engine demonstrate, how they push. It was gigantic data sets they were pushing into the engine. I mean, we had those real-time visualizations of the city, and then, a little plugin from Axis to add characters into it to make it more lifelike and give a sense of scale. And in a few weeks before SIGGRAPH with the Datasmith API, we're able to really get all of this complex data into the engine and create something that's quite beautiful. So by the way, our user group video is going to be on YouTube probably at the end of this week. So check it out. It will be all of those demos that I'm mentioning about, the Harley-Davidson demo to show the direct to CAD workflow, the architectural demo to show Max. All of that stuff can be seen on YouTube in a few days.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's great to hear. Yeah, because I wasn't able to attend SIGGRAPH. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have been there. But yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on that content as well and see all the great things that were shown there.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, cool. So Who do you see? Who do you see this for? The most broad audience here. I know we've talked about people that are working in CAD or people that are working in the architectural space. I mean, we talked about Harley Davidson. We've shown work in the past with car companies. I mean, I think the answer is kind of all of the above, right? Like, what for me, I'm always excited to hear about non-games use of Unreal Engine because it's such a fun new world that we're in right now. It opens up a lot of opportunity for developers to go wide with their skill set. So what are the big markets you're seeing that are really super interested in this, that are jazzed and signing up?
Well, I mean, you mentioned the two big ones. First, I mean, it's really architectural visualization because the engine is proven, the adoption is there. I mentioned, we're seeing a lot of architects already using it. So when they can get Datasmith, they can really integrate interactive content into their business, and of course VR, and that's going to be that's a big draw, and it will make the whole process very, very affordable for them to really create interactive content without rebuilding the assets. So that's really the first, and all the companies that visualize around the architectural space and construction. They are kind of a very natural target. I mean, I encourage people to look at the Enterprise Summer Sizzle Reel. I mean, there's a lot of very beautiful architectural content done.
Yeah.
A number of companies. It's really it's a very natural team. The other part, as you mentioned, is everybody that deals in the manufacturing space. Need more direct CAD workflows. We work with plane companies. Boeing, Gulfstream, or Bombardier, those kind. If you want chance when you want to configure your private jet, I'm telling you, it's going to be done in Unreal Engine.
Oh, that's great. I'm happy to hear it, Marc. You must know something I don't know.
Or maybe your next McLaren 720S.
Yes. Yeah. That's great.
What we see in manufacturing is having interactive content. And having every time you create a part, having it available in Unreal, that unlocks a lot of new workflows because in engineering everybody works independently on those subsystems and those pieces, and it's very difficult to put them together.
Right.
I mean, 2 years ago when you showed up at McLaren and we just showed them their car in Unreal Engine, they were like surprised because they had never seen it before.
Right.
With interactivity, all the parts together.
Right.
That's what we demonstrate at the user group with the Harley Davidson bike. The 2,000 part or 5,000 part, they're all there. So you can pick it up, you can see how they interrelate, you can look at it holistically. So this notion of aggregating content and manipulating it real time is actually is enormous value for all the customers. And then of course you have marketing usage, like I'm going to create a pretty picture to show my boss, to greenlight my design or to show, even to sell the product, like the configurators or just marketing materials. So once you have simplified the pipeline, creating those Unreal assets, they'll be used for a number of things.
It's funny too. You talk about they've never seen the car put together that way. I mean, a lot of these manufacturing people that build hardware or mechanical or machinery, anything like that, right? In any field, if they have that CAD data, they can both bring it in and then see it and then build it out that way and understand what it's going to look like in an interactable way. And then later, if it's installed on an actual site, there's a world where there's an application where they can actually watch it in motion. I think of things like oil drilling or things that are in space, where you can't actually be hands-on. You're looking at numbers and data. You're actually able to visualize that based on the same design drawings that were used to create the actual hardware, which I think is really cool because it's like the both absolute ends and not having to recreate too much content.
Yeah, and we see people starting using digital models as well while they're operating a machine. Because now, with internet, you got all of those sensors. So before it exists, when you design this behavior, you simulate with the engine. But after it's built, you can actually, with sensor, verify that it's actually running exactly the way you predicted it. Mm-hmm. So you can close the loop. And that's why those assets, those real-time assets, they're valuable from D0 of the product all the way to the moment you have to disassemble it and ditch it.
Yeah.
Because you can explode it, you can understand it, you can pass this information in a very natural and understandable way.
Yeah, and there's a lot of mechanical equipment that's IP based, or that's got input output that you could come into some IO and Arduino or some sort of integration into Unreal Engine and start taking that data and have it influence what's happening inside the real time space too. So you're actually getting, like you said, that you close that loop. You're getting real data in real time coming back into what you're seeing in a safe virtual space.
I can't betray many secrets, but in cars, we have GPUs in cars now, so we can use Unreal Engine to create very nice human interfaces.
Yeah.
But then we have the ODB2 port. We can actually visualize everything that's happening in your car in real time because we get all of the data from the CAN bus, and when we have the right behavior of the car, we have a good, accurate, physically accurate model of the car. We can actually, in your dashboard, tell you exactly how your car is behaving just by reading the data on the CAN bus.
Just straight out of the data.
Working with a few people on creating some telemetry application and some very interesting usage of the engine, so that to enhance the experience in the car, so that you actually know what's going on. Suppose you're not driving the car, right? You still want to know intellectually what's going on.
Right.
What is the car seeing? How it's behaving? So
yeah. Instead of just your maintenance required. What does that mean, right?
Yeah, no, he'll call the dealer for you and book the appointment. So.
Yeah. That'll be $600. Thank you. No, that's great. Well, this is super cool. So it seems like there's tons of different uses for it. Here, you said you've got, is it over 20 integrations right now from CAD or other DCC tools right now into Datasmith?
Yeah. We support a lot of formats, and we're going to be building the one that's missing. So it's really about Datasmith is this concept of automating the pipeline and the generation. And we also understand that you don't author against one target. I mean, if you do a high-end PC, to do a presentation, or VR on a mobile, so we have all the tools so that you can actually generate the multiple LODs and you can manage very efficiently your real-time assets. Again, the premise is nobody wants to pay for asset conversions. People wants to pay to creative work.
Yeah.
And that's what Datasmith is going to be there, which is really take the drudgery out of the process for you. Got
it. And you said you're planning to support a couple, more platforms. There's been a couple of questions here in the chat about Maya. Did you say Maya is on the roadmap, or is it something you're looking at?
Yes, Maya is on the roadmap, and the whole topic of breaking down film assets into real time is something we want to solve. But in architecture, it was easy because everybody uses Max V-Ray, and we understand the shading model, so we can bake down against an objective that we know. In film and television, Maya is such an open platform. People have much more complicated workflows, and so like everybody uses different shaders. Everybody has cook torrents to load, but the lobes are always different. I mean, it's very, very hard to there is no standardization going on there. So that's why it will take us a little bit more time to do this. We will have more of a toolbox approach so that the company can build and configure their own Datasmiths for Maya. But yes, it's definitely on the roadmap. And we have our friends from the Foundry, the bridge for Modo is not using Datasmith, but we're talking to a lot of other people. It seems that Unreal Engine is widely accepted in all the pipelines. People want to have it, so
that's great.
Either Datasmith or us collaborating with other vendors will bring a solution.
That's awesome. That's really great to hear too. And someone was asking here as well, like if you're talking about live links from these other sites, like so if you're able to connect, directly up to another piece of DCC hardware or software and make a change and see it reflect in Engine. Yeah.
So this is more the animation workflow. I mean, especially in entertainment, you'll have two classes of workflow, more like scene assembly workflows or animation workflows. For animation workflows, we want live links. So for example, we had a live link with Maya that we showed at GDC. We've done another live link for Motion Builder that's going to be available at some point as well, so that people can piggyback Unreal Engine on a motion capture set that use Motion Builder. So yeah, we have all of that encompassing vision, but it's a lot of different workflows. It's a lot of work. So we'll get to them. We're only starting. We started 6 months ago. So
yeah. Oh yeah, that's great.
We have a whole rest of the year ahead of us to finish that.
Yep. I've got a question here too, just about in general while we're kind of on the topic. So things like cameras and material information come over and translate correctly into Unreal. You have to rebuild that stuff, right? Just all there.
It's all there.
That's
Even
great.
I mentioned ES light profiles. There's a lot of advanced, metadata that was ignored because, we don't rely on FBX anymore. We create something different. So we have a much wider bus. If you think of it, information that we can pass through the pipeline. So, and we can, we have a few ideas of things like I mentioned Foliage. If you use Foliage package in Max, we recognize it and we create Foliage in Unreal Engine. That's a level of intelligence that you could not convey with a neutral data format before.
Yeah, definitely. I know. I'm not an artist. I'm more on the programming and technical design side. So every time I've had to build some, programmer art, export my UVs or build my materials over here and then try to export everything and recreate it and try to get the same look in my other toolkit, I usually just give up and just apply a blank material to it and find somebody else to help me out. So that's good at least.
UV is always we do UV generation, we do automatic resizing of texture. If we find in the scene a texture that the engine will not understand, we convert it into something that
that's great.
By the engine. A lot of things that everybody does, we've automated, and so there is some, it's a lot of automation, a little bit of heuristic. We understand the engine very well, so we can tune things so that it's automagic.
Yeah, I will take super magic every time. So I wanted to ask, there's a number of people asking here how to get plugged in, and thank you, Dana, for hopping in and answering a bunch of questions, but just for the archive. So how do people get involved right now with Datasmith?
So go to unrealengine.com/beta. We'll ask you a few questions, particularly which package you use. This is how we're going to let people in when we have the right package for them.
Gotcha.
But if you go to unrealengine.com/beta, you're a Max customer, Max user, you'll get access to the plugin. We have the code. We're figuring out our online infrastructure to make sure we have the right support.
Right.
We're creating some demo content, so it's going to be towards the end of the month that we open the gates and people will get to it. So that's where unrealengine.com/beta. Fill the questionnaire, and you'll be in as soon as we can, as soon as we're open for business.
Cool. And so you said just a couple weeks, by the end of the month is when we're going to start bringing people through?
Yeah.
Great. I've had a couple people ask me kind of what status was, so that's good to know. Thank you. So yeah, encourage you to go sign up and check it out if this is of interest to you. I'm going to poke around with the tools. I haven't been able to yet, so I'm going to see what I can do and what I can break. It's going to be exciting times.
It's the right time to break a chance. Go for it.
Hey, the good thing is we got the engineers that can fix it. So
yeah, really. We'll find all the quirks and fix them. So
it'll give me a reason to come visit you in Montreal.
Absolutely, you'll be welcome.
Yeah.
By the way, I'll do a test. Do you recognize the character above my shoulder? This shoulder?
I can barely see it, but does?
It's a test for your audience. I'll grab it.
Yeah, I can barely see it from here. It's a little smaller. What is it? What are you saying, Clint?
It's a cultural test.
Oh my gosh.
Anybody recognize this?
I am unsure. Let's see if we got anything in the chat.
We'll see if you have an international audience.
We do. We've got them from all over. I'm waiting to see. We're about a 20-second delay before the chat will catch up. So I'll see if anybody's got the right answer coming in. That is awesome. I had another quick question here right now about Revit Plans.
Mm-hmm.
Is that on our roadmap as well, or what are we doing
Yes.
for Revit?
Yeah. Well, Revit is always a complex topic because the format is closed. We cannot open an RVT file, so we have to do some gymnastics to support Revit, but definitely on the roadmap. But I also want to say that one of the presentation we did I can't wait for you to try to read the name of that character.
Everyone is saying that they think they know who it is, but they're not sure.
We'll see. Revit. So, which is an opportunity to talk about our partners at Twinmotion. Going to Unreal Engine is more of the visualization specialist, but the architect who needs to present the project to his boss needs interactive content right away. We worked with our friends at Twinmotion, and they actually released Twinmotion 2018 on our stage at the user group at SIGGRAPH.
Oh, great.
There's no problem with Revit file because it plugs straight into Revit, straight into ArchiCAD on the Mac and on the PC. And it's like a game. You set up where the building is located, you set up time of day, season, and you get all of the weather system, you get all of the lighting, everything is built for you. It is a great presentation tool for architects. Again, when I was working with architects, usually they tell you that they do the visualization in the cab on the way to the customer. Because the project is finished at the last minute, and the last thing they have to do is presentation material, and they always struggle with software rendering and everything. Twin motion is going to be perfect for that. And so right now, the right way to get Revit data would be through Max with Datasmith until we figure out how we crack open that damn closed RVT ecosystem. But we have some ideas on how to do that.
Cool. Seems like that's most of the questions we've got from the chat here. I just want to say, is there anything else that you want to tell us about Datasmith? Any other call to actions?
No, look, once the beta is up there, go and sign up and hammer it out. Let us know what's wrong. Suggestion, there's probably a few things, probably a lot of things that we haven't thought about. They could, automate the process. Again, we want people to have fun in the engine and create amazing content and not wander too much with the pipeline. And, we're working hard on Maya. We're working on the film pipelines, breaking down of assets for film. That's going to take a little bit more time. But again, as we've shown with Fortnite trailer and the human race and Safari, there is a big appetite out there for producing super high quality content with the game engine. I think we have reached the threshold where the quality is good. And now, but you competition the economics because of the rendering times, the nowhere in the farm, because you can reuse the assets. So it's going to be a busy year for us to accommodate everybody. But you have a great team here in Montreal.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, on that note, I just had a couple more come across that I want to knock out before we say goodbye. But Houdini and Blender. Yes, it's on the list. I had a good meeting with the Blender folks at SIGGRAPH. It's always difficult with the open source community, but we'll find a way. Right. I have this great new viewport that in Blender. Blender 2.8, I can't remember the name, Eevee, I think, the viewport renderer. We'll make sure, that we have visual fidelity, that what you tune in Eevee makes its way through Datasmith into Unreal Engine. I don't have a date for you, but definitely it's on our radar. And Houdini, our friends at Houdini, a lot of our customers use the Houdini engine, for procedural content, and we'll get to it as well. Yeah, and I do believe there is a Houdini plugin as well. I'm not sure it's the same level of pipeline integration here, but if that's a pain point for you, you can probably check it out on our marketplace right now and download it and poke about.
And Datasmith is an open API, so we do expect people to do a lot of converters on their own.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, I'd like to hear that. That's awesome. Well, cool. It seems like that's all the questions we've got across for today. Marc, I really appreciate you coming on and chatting. It's been good to see you. I don't see you enough even when you are here at the office, so we'll have to catch up soon. Give us the name.
The name is Monsieur Bidochon. It's a typical French character. You'll recognize the beret and the cigarette, and it's one of the most cracking French comics characters.
It sounds amazing. It reminds me of somebody. What's that? Bidochon.
That's the name. Yes,
all right.
You got it.
He kind of reminds me of some of the older Hanna-Barbera era cartoons, like maybe from 50, 60 years ago.
It's self-deprecating humor from the French, so.
Very, very cool. I'll have to hear more about it next time I visit.
Sure.
All right.
You're more than welcome.
Marc, thank you so much for your time today about Datasmith. Again, if you want to check it out, head over to unrealengine.com/beta. You can fill out a little profile about what you're working with there, and so we can make sure we get you on the list for when we open it up in a couple weeks. And more info to come, I'm sure, on this. We're really excited about it. Team's been working hard on it. SIGGRAPH blog coming later this week. Thank you all for joining us and asking your questions and hanging out. If you have more, feel free to drop them on the forum thread, and I'll see if I can't follow up with them after the fact. So, guess that's it. Thank you, Clint. Really appreciate you, buddy. All right, Marc, thanks again. We'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody.